Hey guys, and welcome back for another vlog here on our channel. So, a common question that I get asked often is, how does Mika Ella interact with other kids since she's nonverbal? So while I've answered this question in somewhat form or fashion in the past, I thought today I would go into great detail how Mika Ella builds relationships even though she can't communicate like us. And how do I, as her parent, set herself up for success with her social capabilities paired with the challenges that she has. But first, let's make some picnic lunches for my 4 adorable grandkids, for Rainey and Mika Ella, and myself. It's a beautiful day outside, and so I am going to take you along with us, and we're going to chat about sweet little Mika Ella. So for a little background, she was diagnosed with a neurological disorder, and it's kind of a mouthful. It's called bilateral perisylvian syndrome. And what that means is she has challenges in many different areas. She does have a partial paralysis of the mouth, jaw, and tongue, which also comes with speech delays. For Mika, she's just completely nonverbal. Delayed development in many areas. They struggle with expressive and receptive language. Seizures are usually part of it too, as we have seen that in Mika over the past month or two. We're now kind of looking at that. But while looking at Mika Ella, it isn't really obvious that she actually has a pretty rare neurological syndrome. But she's brilliant in so many areas. She loves school. She helps out around the house with a lot of different chores. And she has the sweetest disposition ever, as you can tell. And she really is thriving in life. But that's not to say that she doesn't struggle with many things. I strive to not allow her, being a quote unquote special needs child, change what my goals are for her in life, relationally, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, all the things. And when I say I mean myself and Stan. We are a team in parenting her through this journey, so we are definitely on board with all of my thought processes that I'm talking about with you today. So first, what I have to know is it's incredibly important that I am very aware, real, and honest with myself on what her limitations and her struggles are, all while still helping her to strive to be the best little Mika that she can be. Secondly, the most effective way to teach Mika Ella is really the same way that you're going to teach any child. It's going to be by mirroring that behavior that we want to instill in them. Meaning she is going to learn best from what she sees me doing daily. How does she see me act and respond daily? That's best how she's going to learn. Just giving you practicality of this, even just simple gestures when out in public and opening the door and allowing others to go first. Mika Ella has no awareness of that, so that means I have to show her how to do so. She has to see me doing that for others, and in the process, it teaches her to do the same. And that must be done over and over and over because she really has to have repetition for it to stick. You know, socially, Mika Ella gets along with everyone. And I will say that having the 4 grandkids around and Isabel has really helped her grow in learning how to interact with others, how to care for others, how to have empathy, how to share. You know, it's so very important to not only our family unit, but also for Mika's maturity and growth to have play dates like we're doing today. So this was very intentional on my part because I wanted to get her out of the house. I wanted her to interact with some peers, because it's good for her in so many ways. I mean, it's good for me in so many ways, just being able to get out of the house and enjoy some fresh air. And it's no different with Mika Ella. Today she was playing with a toy, one of those Woody dolls from Toy Story. It's one of her favorite toys of Brantley's, and Brantley was sharing it today. Well, I noticed she was so consumed with that toy that she wasn't interacting with any of the other kids. So after about 10 to 15 minutes, I asked for the toy, and I had to remind her that we're here to play with Brantley and Elise, and I gave her some other options of something to go do with them. So she can very easily get in her zone in playing with blocks or Legos or toys, and sometimes she has a hard time doing interactive play with other kids, because she would rather just play on her own, and they kind of mess up her groove. And so I quite often, when other kids are around, I have to say, Mika, let's put the toy down and go play with your friends. You know, for other kids, it's hard to interact and play with Mika Ella on some level when she can't communicate verbally. But I know it's equally probably as frustrating for her that she can't communicate as well like all of the other kids. However, what I've learned is we can't stay stuck in that and not have goals in helping her build solid, loving relationships. You know, it's amazing to think back the first few years that we brought Mika Ella home. She really didn't pay attention to kids her size or smaller. She was never ugly to them by any means, but she would just ignore them. And she really didn't have any empathy for them. She just kind of was like out of sight, out of mind, I guess you could say. However, though, now with time and intentionality and creating that within her, she loves seeing her younger friends. She hugs them, she gets excited to see them, and she certainly has more empathy and loves to care and nurture others. It's really been beautiful to watch. She is so attentive to Isabel. When she notices that Isabel is whining on the couch, she asks me if she can get Isabel up and go walk her, because she knows Isabel loves to walk. So there she is, just paying attention to other people's needs and stepping in and learning how she can help fill that need. And I think that is such a huge win in the growth of her maturity and just in life. I have noticed with Mika Ella entering puberty and being a little tween, she wants to be involved in adult conversations, which is completely normal, especially at this age. I'm thinking back to a particular little instance that we had multiple times over and over. We've had to teach her not to interrupt when others are talking. And you might be thinking, Ashley, what do you mean? She cannot speak. How is she interrupting? Well, let me tell you, the girl may not communicate with words like we do, but she still communicates, and she will interrupt with, pulling on you, making noises. That's what I mean when she interrupts adult conversation. And I noticed that at church, when we would be visiting with friends, she would just awkwardly laugh out loud in the middle of us talking. And it wasn't even a laughable moment like she was joining in with mom and dad laughing. It was just an awkward laugh like, hey, I want to get your attention. I want to be involved here. I'm not really sure what her motive was. But after seeing that happen several times, I knew, okay, we need to address this. So just as in you teach any other child, in that moment, you kind of get down on their level, tell them, hey, you can't do that. That's not acceptable. You wait until we get done talking, and then you let me, and then you can tell me what you need to tell me, right? So we just kind of had to address that right in the moment when it happened. And then I would also talk to her about it when we would get in the van privately or whatever. And she seemed to catch on to that, but it was definitely kind of interesting, I guess you could say. But yeah, all in all, Mika Ella makes friends so easily. She isn't scared of any new social environment at all. She really loves being around other people. She is brilliant. As you all know, she's a very capable child, and I'm just excited to see how she grows and matures. But I really strive to do my best to not keep those labels so tightly attached to her. I know that's really easy to do for some parents of special needs kids, but I really try not to do that. Instead, I choose to help her thrive and to be the best version of herself. Anyways, I hope that that gives you a little clarity on how we tackle getting Mika Ella in social environments, how she is in those type of environments, and what it looks like for her to build relationships even though she's nonverbal. But this was such a sweet vlog. We had such a good time out there. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. If you have any questions, I don't mind. We're an open book. Feel free to drop them in the comments section below. And we will definitely see you on the next vlog. Bye.